Hi everyone, I'm Cal Spriggs. Today I'm going to show you how I completed my Gallowdark terrain tile set, allowing me to play Warhammer 40k, Necromunda, Killteam, or any other sci-fi wargame you care to play. From the beginning, the goal of this project is to create fun, multi-level terrain. The raised tiles I built in the other videos have accessible underfloors and passages to allow models alternate routes. I built 2 industrial-themed tiles, as well as a multi-level plasma reactor and lastly a furnace section, each of which I covered in their own videos. The individual tags should be popping up on your screen now. While these modular tiles are awesome, I also wanted some flat tiles to give greater depth to the overall build and to add to the total playable space. Unlike the raised tiles, these were really quick to assemble. I started with 1 foot by 1 foot particle board squares that I purchased on Amazon. Of course, even though they're listed and sold as 1 foot by 1 foot, when they arrived and I actually measured them, they're 11 3/4 inches by 11 3/4 inches. This again is why I have trust issues. Anyway, my 3D printed sections fit on the board and I tried a few different layouts before I glued them down. Once I glued them down, I started painting them using cheap craft paints to put down blue and white on the tiles. I like the blue and white as they're both often used on naval and maritime settings, and it subconsciously helps trigger spaceship. Plus, they both contrast well with the rust later on. I didn't have to be too neat with painting the deck here, because everything is going to get a heavy wash and overcoats to make it look rusty and disused. That's the great thing about painting terrain, and that you can just relax and paint it. It's not critical that everything look perfect. There are a lot of sections of white on this build. I even picked out an area that looked like a good spot for a medical bay, with smaller deck sections that I painted so it looks a bit like an operating room floor. This wasn't a super swift process, but I put on music and it was pretty enjoyable overall. Knowing what motivates you and keeps you interested in a project helps tremendously with things like this. For me, for this tile, it was the realization that this was an operating room, that I'd get to decorate it in a suitably gory fashion later on, that got me excited and helped me push through the simple and mundane parts of the project. It also doesn't hurt to have an audiobook on in the background. If you're looking for something to listen to or read, by the way, I've written over 40 novels and I've included links to those below. With the blue and white done, I moved on to 40k's inevitable hazard stripes. I swear the guys who sell yellow and black paint to the Imperium must make a fortune. I picked out an area that seemed like a good spot for cargo to be set down, or maybe heavy equipment gets parked here or whatever. I freehanded some yellow and black hazard stripes here, using the square's corners as reference points. I probably could have stenciled it or something, but this was easy enough to do, and I'm not chasing perfection with this. If you are freehanding hazard stripes, the important thing to do is to keep the lines relatively the same width and parallel. I like to do the yellow stripes first, as you can see here, because I can come back in with the black and correct any yellow that doesn't line up properly. I think a big part of why hazard stripes is found in so much Warhammer 40k terrain is that it draws the eye, sort of like it does in real life. Also, as it signals danger, it makes the environment seem more hazardous. Seeing as this is a universe where the only thing between you and a crazy psycho with a chain axe is another violent sociopath wielding a chainsword, maybe the entire Warhammer 40k logo should come with hazard stripes. In any case, with the whole tile set looking clean and crisp, I got to come in and do the fun part. Using burnt umber craft paint, I dirtied the whole tile. I periodically mix this with water to thin it down, so sometimes it goes on heavy and other times it's semi-translucent. This gives nice gradients and variety. I ran it around the edges of the painted tiles and put it heavily in areas where water or liquids should pool. The goal here is to make the environment look lived in and well used. With the rust in, I switched over to Blood for the Blood God technical paint and started adding blood spatter. I started off in the operating room because, again, this is the 41st millennium and little things like being sanitary are completely secondary. It's nice to hint that most of the operating room's patients aren't exactly voluntary either. The rest of the tile got blood spatter scattered around as well because this place has been fought over and it's not going to be clean and tidy either. I also used some typhus corrosion and Nurgle rot technicals to further weather and add areas of interest and finish it up. That of course leads me to the big reveal. Doing this one tile was fairly quick, and it gave me some ideas for the wall sections that are going to complete this boarding action terrain. I did this one and another flat tile section really quickly, and I have 3 more that I'm working on right now. That's all for now. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to do all the YouTube stuff.